Hey everyone, it is great to see you, design cutters, and I'm so excited because we are about to kick off yet another live event happening all week long. This is Procreate Week here at Design Cuts, and I can think of no one better than to bring in this new event than our good friend Abbie Nurse. How are you, Abbie?
Hey, very good.
Abbie, what are you sharing with us?
I'm going to show you how to do geometric designs in Procreate and then turn them into a Rhizograph using my Rhizograph pack.
Amazing. And we were just geeking out about this pack before going live. It's one of my favorites. It's such a unique style. I think Rizograph's pretty underrated in my opinion.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's sort of got
it's very distinctive, isn't it? The look.
Yeah, it is.
Awesome. Well, without further ado, over to you. I can't wait to jump into this.
So when I prepare for a live, I just go deep. So I didn't just, do one or two. I obviously did like a million. Because I want to be able to show you how to repeat it and do it yourself and make it convincing. So what I'm going to be talking about today is how to create really interesting geometric designs in Procreate, just in Procreate without importing shapes and, using shape stamps. You can actually do it all yourself in Procreate and create some really interesting things. But first, I want to talk about Rhizograph. If you don't know, Rhizograph is a printing process which is almost like the coming together of screen printing and a photostat machine. So it's basically a single color at a time is printed, and say you have a pink layer, and then you print out 100 layers of that pink. And then you have a blue layer and you print out 100 on the pink layers again, and then a yellow layer, and you put that same paper through. So it layers up the colors and you build up your color using a really limited number of colors. So here I've got a color wheel, and you can see that this one is lying on top of that one. And I've given it the Rhizograph texture. And you can see that when hang on, let me just go here.
So Abbie, just a quick question initially then. Is it fair to say with this technique that layering not only accounts for lightness and darkness, but also saturation?
Yes, it's basically as you would with a screen print, you're going to build up color using other colors lying on top of each other. Mm-hmm. So here I've got like this, the pink one behind, and then the pink is lying on top of it. And if I rotate it, now you can see we're getting different colors here. This sort of acid green and the turquoise are giving you a really nice bright green. Rotate it again, and we've got turquoise and purple give you this lovely royal blue. Maybe that's interesting. Again, now let's say you wanted a black, but you didn't want to actually add a black layer. This is quite a nice stand-in for black, and you could kind of get away with that. And then this is also actually quite a nice dark color. And then you get some interesting browns, and back to the beginning. So you can see that if you make a design, you have to take into account how those layers are going to lie over the top of each other and create your design. So you can see from the designs that I have all in my gallery, there are endless possibilities. So let me just open one up. You can see here that turquoise goes over the yellow and creates the green, and the yellow goes over the pink and creates the orange. I think you get the idea. So let's do it.
It's so stunning, honestly. I would totally go to an art gallery that had all these pieces.
Okay, so one of my favorite things to do is a repeating waveform. So the way that I do it is I go to the symmetry tool, which is here in the wrench. I keep calling it the spanner, but nobody knows what a spanner is. So I have to say wrench.
I do.
And then turn on the drawing guide, and I want to edit that guide because I actually don't want it on the 2D grid. I want it on symmetry. and I want it on vertical. When I made this canvas, it was in this orientation, so it's telling me that's vertical. So you want it across the long format. Okay, now it wants to go that way. Okay, and then make sure that the word assisted is showing on the layer that you're going to be drawing on. Now I'm just going to use Crispy Crayon, which is in this pack. Now I'm going to look for sort of the middle, I'll make it that big, of the format, and I'm going to make a little wave. And now to join that, I'm going to edit the shape, make it lie on top of each other. So we've got a little bit of a wave going here. Now I'm going to move this that way, duplicate it, and this one is going to continue the wave in that direction. And the reason I've got them on multiply is so that I can actually see where they're lying over the top of each other and it doesn't confuse me. So, and also I haven't got it on snapping, because when you have it on snapping, it wants to jump to weird places. So I leave snapping off and I keep magnetics on so that it will create that blue line as I drag the shape. And then about there, you can see the two are lying over the top of each other. They intersect on this little dot there.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Now we can merge them. Let's make it a bit tiny. Whoops. Let's put on uniform. Sorry. Make it a bit tinier. Move it over. Make another one. Now we can drag him across. Whoop. Match him up. Is he matching? Yeah. Cool. Okay, we'll do, whoops, merge him down. Make him a bit tinier. Maybe off the canvas. Let's do one more. And now, because I cut it off there, it doesn't matter. I can just put this over the top of the whole thing. And it won't, it will continue the pattern. Now you can see that where it's multiplied, it makes a darker yucky bit. So you can just alpha lock, and then you're still on your turquoise, and fill layer. The reason I don't do that drag and drop thing when you alpha lock is because it often doesn't go all the way to the little crispy edges of a textured line. So I like to do fill layer, and it covers every pixel.
That's a really good tip. And that's because the original brush you used here had some nice texture going on, right? It wasn't
yeah, it's got that jiggly edge. Yep,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. So now we've got this cool wave, but let's make it more interesting. Duplicate it. And let's move it down a little bit, like that. And duplicate again. And move this one down a little bit too. It's quite nice because if you have magnetics on, it's sort of, it makes it easy to stay in the direction that you're moving the things to. One more. Now I'm just guessing here because it doesn't matter to me how, if they're 1 or 2 pixels different. I'm just using the shapes that they make between each other as a reference for my eyeballs to decide if they're far enough apart or close enough together. And then I actually want to keep my original one without merging it in. So I'm just going to keep it down, back up. I can merge these babies together. And now I've got this yucky bit here that I still want to fill in. So I'm
loving your use of yucky. That's a technical industry term for everyone.
It is totally, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to zoop that across and wait. Didn't stay in line. There we go. We've filled in all those gaps. Now we can merge that down. And now it's already alpha locked, so we can just fill the layer. And it's nice and perfect. And that looks pretty nice. I really like this. It's sort of one of those optical illusions that makes you imagine a ribbon, but it's not a ribbon. Anyway, maybe it's just me who likes these.
No, it's beautiful.
So this original line that we had, let's use that for something else. Let's make a nice wide wiggly shape. That's a cool shape. So I still want to keep one of these. Let's merge those down and unalpha lock it. And then I'm going to fill the gap in between with a color. But because I've used a crispy edged brush, if you do the drag and drop, it leaves this weird, oh no, hang on, it's still unassisted, so it's going to fill weird places. It can, if you're not careful, leave these little artifacts around the edge that don't look nice, and I don't like them. So what I do as a workaround is I use select on automatic, and I select outside the shape and then invert it so that everything between those lines is covered, and then fill it. And you instantly have filled the whole thing. Okay, let's hide that for now and go back to our first stripe that we made. Let's put it over there somewhere. Now I'm going to do the same thing of the select outside and invert and fill a different layer with a different color. Hang on. And then I want a color on that side as well. So I can turn that off. Select this one, invert it. Now I can fill this side with a different color. See? And now let's do the thing that makes it look extra cool.
Where do you get your colors from? I'm sure a lot of people are wondering.
This little batch of colors, I just kind of messed around until I found some that just felt nice together. I like to use this color picker, the classic one, because if you're in a tonal range, like say you're here, but you think, okay, I like the tone of that color, but I actually want it to be a bit bluer, you can slide your little thing across and maintain that location, but change to a different color, and you have absolute control over it. With the disc, I'm a little bit less, I feel like a little bit more out of control. I like control, just in case you're wondering.
Yeah, I was getting that from those edges, but I love it.
So now we want to create that lovely offset where the color is going to change because it's lying over the top of each other. So we can shift this baby down and see how cool that looks with this orange there. But now we've got this gap here, which is annoying. So let's duplicate that, and we can drag this one up to fill that gap. There we go. Okay, another trick is that if you have these two, that one's on multiply, and if you just merged it down, this would stay dark orange, which you actually don't want. But if you change the blend mode of the top one to normal, it will automatically take on the blend mode of the bottom one once you've merged it and become seamless. So that's a nice hack if you ever feel like doing that.
Abbie, I may have just thought of another hack for people. Let me know what you think of this.
Yep.
Would it be possible to have a canvas larger than what you need that has a kind of bleed type area?
Yeah.
And then instead of having to duplicate things, you can have these broken edges, and at the very end, you just crop in to get rid of them.
That is actually what we're going to get to, but in a slightly different. We've got a border here that we're going to rip off.
There you go. Great minds, Abbie.
And then let's add this one back in and see how we go. So this actually looks pretty neat. Maybe let's flip it over. That's even better. So this looks really cool. But now if we want to turn it into a Rhizograph, we're going to use these layers that we've created as the stencils for the Rhizograph colors. So let's group that lot. This one can go up there and turn it off. And then in turn, we're going to select each layer and fill it in with the Rhizograph texture. So select pink. Let's go find pink. And then head up here. I'm going to choose this one. Don't be alarmed when I do the texture. You might see it look a bit sort of funky, like this. Can you see that? That sort of weird squares.
Is that just zooming out, or yeah?
That's just the interference pattern of your screen with the location of the dots in the Rhizograph. But it doesn't do that in actual fact. It freaked me out at first. I thought, what the hell's going on? But don't worry, it's fine. Go to the yellow one. So let me just repeat. Tap the yellow one, tap select, head down to the other layer, choose your color, and then color over. And the really nice thing about these brushes is that you can vary your pressure to give you areas where it looks like perhaps the ink was a little bit less dense, etc., to give it more of a sort of organic vibe. So I've done it darker here and a bit lighter there, and see where they overlap. It looks super cool.
The texture on that looks amazing, Abbie.
Let's do the turquoise one. Tap select, head down, pick turquoise, and zoom over that. And then just because we made it, the other one. There you go. And now, as Tom was saying, what I do is I group my Rizzo layers like this. And then I have this little border that I've made. You can see this little black border. But I don't actually want a black border. So I'm going to select the black border, go to this group that I just made, and I want to remove that from all of them. And there isn't a way to tap it and delete it. You just drag it off like that, and it's gone. Miracle. And there we go. And there are other ways to make these waves. Let me show you another one. Drawing assist. Oh, when you want it to be assisted, you tap on the layer and look for the word drawing assist in this little drop down. And then you know it's going to be assisted. Let's do another one. Back to the other brush, otherwise it'll be weird. Let's do a circle. To make a circle instantly, you hold and then you touch your finger down and it instantly turns into a circle. And if you want to edit it, take your pencil off first and then take your finger off, and then you can edit shape. If you take your finger off first and your pencil off last, then it just stays exactly how you had it and you can't edit it. So, yep, remember that. Okay. So I've got my two little circles and they're slightly offset because I'm on radial symmetry. Let me show you. Oh, sorry, rotational symmetry. So whatever you draw here is going to be rotated on the other side. So let's join these two. And then I want to draw another line coming from this side as parallel to that as I can get it. Just using my eyeballs. Okay. And now I want to rub this bit out. Let's make it a bit smaller so I can see. If I lean forward too far and my head goes in front of my phone, which is filming this, please tell me, because then you won't be able to see what I'm doing.
No, it's really well framed so far. Don't worry too much.
Okay. Right, we've got a little sort of, it looks like a pelican actually. Okay, and then we're going to do exactly the same as we did before. Duplicate it, drag it. If you want to move tiny increments, you tap, which is really handy. That looks good. Just merge it down. Maybe make it a bit smaller before we carry on. Duplicate, move it across. Okay. We'll do one more. Hang on, let's make it smaller. That looks fine.
Hopefully this is going to be helpful for people seeing a second design created, because the techniques won't be completely new this time round. You know, I kind of know we're about to alpha lock and then fill to get rid of those overlaps and so on.
You are calling it. That's exactly what we're going to do. Wait, let's make this bit hang off the edge a tiny bit, because I like it to be a bit symmetrical, you know, a little bit control freak. And alpha lock and fill. Now I'm not going to drag it in an angled direction. I'm going to make repeats that drag them down, which also can look cool. Like that. And another thing you can do if you're getting bored of duplicating whatever, just merge two of them. So when you duplicate them, you only have to do it once, but you've actually moved two. Work smarter, not harder. That's what they always say in Australia. Okay. We'll keep that one in as well. Turn it off, merge down, and that looks pretty rad. Okay, we'll put it over here. Now to make a nice design out of this, I might want to echo the shapes of that, those like diagonal sausages. So let's do the two colors first. So we actually don't need to be able to see that to still do it. Automatic select outside, invert, and then we can fill it with pink, I think. And then, hang on a sec. Select here, invert. Let's fill this one with yellow. Okay, and then let's drag it across a little bit. That looks really nice. Okay, I actually don't like this red. Let's make it purple. Cool. Now to echo these wonky sausage shapes, we're going to make a pill shape, which is a really, I like it as a design element. That pill shape is quite cool. So let's hide these.
Abbie, can I just say quickly, that took you, I don't know, 5 minutes, it felt like.
Yeah.
And it feels so high end.
Oh.
It feels so, you know, stunning, graphic designy. And,
yeah,
you're making it look so easy, but the outcome just looks incredible.
It's the hacks. It's all the hacks. You got to know the hacks. Okay. Sorry, got to put on drawing assist. Okay, we've still got it on the same symmetry as we had before. Now we're going to use that same symmetry to make a little sausage, or pill shape if you prefer that terminology. Remember, pencil first, finger second. Edit the shape. Now I want them to be exactly in line with each other, so exactly half. So that when I draw this line, they join up nicely and then make a perfect little sausage. Okay, now to fill it, I'm going to select outside, invert, fill layer. Cool, I've got a sausage. Let's turn these babies back on. Now, I think I want it to be at the same angle as these. I'm going to turn off magnetics because I think that's limiting me to the angles that I can go to. That looks pretty cool. Okay. Now let's make another one and keep it on the back burner so that we don't run out of them. Let's move this to here. And it's made like a yucky brown. So I actually am going to select it and delete it by tapping clear on the yellow one. So I tapped select here, and I tapped my yellow one, and I tapped clear. Okay, let's have another one of these. So I've still got my backup there just in case. Let's put this one.
Abbie, I'm noticing that in your composition, you're very much adhering to the rule of 2/3. It seems like.
Yeah, I suppose. I think I just do it instinctively, but yeah, I think that helps a lot.
Yeah,
okay,
it's like kind of off center, but it really helps the composition, I think.
So let's take this away from the yellow as well. So I'm going to tap select on that, and then I'm going to clear it from the yellow. And then for my last sausage, I think I'm going to put him over there somewhere, maybe there. And now I think I'm actually going to clear him from the pink and not from the yellow. Okay, now something is missing. I think it needs just a dot. But let's make a dot the exact same width as that sausage. So let's do it over here so we have a reference. Hold it, finger down, lift pencil, finger up, edit shape. Now to make a circle bigger and smaller, you touch the pencil to the rim of the circle, and you can actually make it smaller without deforming it, which is handy. Okay, select outside, invert, fill. Now I want this, hang on, let's put on magnetics again so that it goes in a straight line. Whoop. Let's put that about there. I think that's nice. And let's select that and delete it from here. Okay, that's nice. I like that. Right. So here you can see all my purple ones. I'm going to scooch them together. I actually think they need to be violet. Okay. Now the magic. To make it look a little bit more, I don't know, cool, I'm going to move them a little bit so that the offset creates a bit of a place where they're lying over the top of each other. And looks pretty rad. And then we can move this.
That's amazing. It creates like a bevel because of the highlight and the shadow.
Yeah, and it's not so sort of predictable. And I just moved that across so it's also not so clean. Okay, now we can make this into a Rhizograph. Let's group our layers that we're going to use. Hang on, I need to duplicate some of these. Let me show you a cool trick. If you want to duplicate a bunch of layers and you don't want to sit here going dukes like this, you just highlight some, drag them onto the canvas, whoops, let go, and they populate the top of your canvas here. So then you can just, whoops, let's put it on there. You can just drag them down to where you were. Easy. Okay. Let's do this one. Select. Now I'm just going to use this one, flat dark. This one works really well to get that slightly shaded look where the registration isn't great in one area and better in another. Do the yellow one, tap select, go to the other layer, pick your color, do your thing. Let's do the pink one. Head back there. That looks pretty nice. Back to the purple ribbony bit. think that was the dark purple. That looks cool. Okay, let's put the border on. Group it. Select the border. Go back to the group. Drag it off. Oh, there you go. That looks nice. And that texture is pretty awesome.
Yeah, that looks amazing, Abbie. What a cool composition. Honestly, I'm loving this. Like, I haven't seen anything that resembles this. It's such a unique style.
Okay, let's do another one. And this one, we're going to do some rotational symmetry using, and it's going to look a bit like a spirograph. Who did spirographs when they were little? I used to spend hours going around and around. It was like literally my favorite thing. Okay, for that, we need the drawing guide to be on radial symmetry. And I like rotational because it repeats in one direction like a clock instead of sort of mirroring like you're making one of those little foldy wish makers. Okay, let's go and find that one. Right, and I'm just going to do a super simple one first to show you the idea. Finger down, pencil off, edit shape. I want it to sit exactly halfway. Okay. Now, this can be a little bit challenging for artists because maths is not our strong suit, but there's a little bit of arithmetic that goes into this. So I'm going to use this and show you. Each of these little segments of pi are 45 degrees. And that's great because you can divide 45 degrees by a couple of ways. You can do 22.5 times 2. You can do 15 times 3. And you can do 9 times 5. And those are all pretty handy for this little exercise. So just keep those in your head. Okay, let's go back to our circles. Duplicate it and then hit the arrow. And a really nice thing is you can pick your angle by pressing this little green knob at the top. Now let's do 15 degrees to start with. Okay, and to make it exactly 3 and make it perfectly symmetrical, do another one. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and this one we're also going to rotate by 15 degrees. And that looks epic, don't you think? So what we can do is make it repeat even more.
This makes me so happy, Abbie.
15 divided by 2, you can have 7.5, or you can divide it by 3 and have 5, 5, 5. But let's just, for the sake of not taking up too much time, do 7.5. And that looks rad. How good is that? So we merge them down.
Like a geometric donut.
Exactly, it's lovely. And then we alpha lock it, and then we can chuck in the color so that we get rid of all those multiplies. Let's do one more. Drawing assist. Now you can do any shapes for this, like you would a spirograph, and just like go for hours doing this. This is what I have spent the last week and a half doing because it's so much fun. Okay. This is quite a nice shape. Let's maybe move it over a bit. Okay, let's see. Let's do 9 on this one. So we're going to have 5 repeats in every 45-degree angle. So duplicate, tap the green dot, choose 9 degrees, and it rotates. Now, if you want to close this panel, if you tap here, it shifts your selection by 1 pixel, which annoys me. So if you tap here, it closes it without shifting it. So that's just a heads up. Okay, duplicate again. 9. Oops. So we've got 2 more to go. 9 degrees. And 1 more. How good is that? That looks really
Have
good.
I ever told you you're a genius, Abbie? Did I mention that recently?
Okay, fill layer. Now let's maybe make it go, have another repeat. So 9 divided by 2 is 4.5, just in case you're wondering. Oh, it sometimes does this. If you don't type the number in fast enough, it goes to the last number you typed. So to go back, just tap 0, and you got to be quick. 4.5. There you go. Listen to me. Okay. Cool. Okay, now let's use this to make a design. Hang on a sec. Right. Now, I think I want it to be hanging into the format, but maybe a bit like, maybe not that big, maybe a bit like that. Maybe a little bit less. Okay, that looks good. And I actually maybe don't want this to be the color. Maybe I want the background to be the color. So let's choose this peachy. Turn that off. Select. And I'm going to delete it from here. Okay. Now, in the freebies that I included with this lesson, I gave you this super grungy brush stroke. And that is to add a little bit of like a dirty smear to your composition. And this is how I use it. So I start in the format, drag it off, and then make it into a straight line by just holding. I hope everybody's downloaded those things because
Yeah, definitely take advantage.
My color palette is in there, and also this brush if you want to have a crack at this. Okay, that looks nice. Actually, I think I want it a bit longer. Let's just stretch it out. Cool. Okay, now I think I want some circles to echo this shape. So I'm going to go for yellow. Let's make it, whoops, not with that brush. Let's make a circle. Touch, pencil first. There we go. Let's maybe put that down here. Okay. But I don't actually want this to be orange. So let's select that and clear it from there. Okay. And then maybe I want a dark orange dot somewhere over here, like a bit of a Japanese flag. Maybe a bit higher. Okay, that looks cool. Now
I'm getting a real like retro.
Yeah, it's got actually. Do you know what it reminds me of? MasterCard.
Yeah, so true. you know you have a strong brand where your logo is minimized to 2 circles and everyone knows what it is.
Okay, let's move that a bit so that we've got a little bit of the orange on this side and the white there. And now I also actually want to get rid of the pink behind my smear. So let's select that and clear that. But I actually want some white streaking down. So I'm going to maybe flip that and do that. There, that's better. Okay, that's quite cool. Let's group these babies and duplicate this lot. Okay, right, let's turn it off and start doing the Rizzo. So select on my peach layer and grab a Rizzo brush. Oops, wrong layer. Okay, I'm selecting the dark paintbrush stroke. What I really like is that sometimes you'll see a Rhizograph, a real one, where somebody has made their image using like real media. And you can actually see the sort of paintbrush strokes, etc. But then they've all got this lovely halftone texture to them. And it's sort of a weird coming together, almost like comic books, children's illustrations. It's kind of very retro. I love it. Okay, the yellow one, right on the right layer. And then we'll do the dark orange one. Okay. See how it's less severe when you do it in the Rizzo than when it was as the flat shapes. You get much nicer color blending. So you can see where the colors sort of cross over each other. You've got the orange, and you've got the yellow, but you can still see other things between them. And that's what I really like about this. Like, look at that. Yellow, pink, orange. But when you zoom out, it's just orange. It's, anyway, I love it. Okay. Select. Then we're going to swoop the border off. And we're done. Cool.
Stunning. So cool. Look at that.
Quick as well. So does anybody
you work super quick, I have to say, Abbie.
I just hope everybody has been able to, you know, follow along. I hope I didn't go too quickly.
No, I think it was really helpful to see it done multiple times. That was super great, Abbie. Thank you so much. But Abbie, thank you again. That was so much fun. We can't wait to welcome you back in future. And Abbie, I can't wait to see you soon. And thank you again. That was so fantastic.
Thanks, Tom. Bye, everyone.
All right. Bye.